Hi, I'm Jansen.
And I'm Debbie Jansen.
And we are two motormouth mama bears willing to discuss current events with honesty and boldness.
We are truth warriors. No lie is too big, no deception too small.
And we are sticking to the truth.
That's right, Julene.
I'm
sticking to the truth. I missed you. It's so good to see you. Did you have a good holiday?
Oh, I did. I'm always a little sad to see it go. I love the spirit, the Christ spirit, and the magic of Christmas. And one of my sons had been away for 2 years doing a church service mission. So he was home, and he not only came home, but he brought a girl that I think is going to be my daughter-in-law. She's just adorable. But, and another boy took another one of my daughters away from us to Germany. He's German, and he's trying to wine and dine her, and I think get in the family. And then one boy's in China, so it wasn't much of a Christmas for him playing basketball over there. But it was great. I had about 3 of my 5 kids and a son-in-law and just a lot of, extended family. It was beautiful. Now I'm just trying to muster the courage to take down all my, Christmas decorations that are still behind me. But I had a great Christmas. How about you, Deb?
Oh my goodness, that your Christmas sounds wonderful. And I had a great holiday at Christmas and New Year's because the Jansen tribe all arrived at my house and 14 people spent every day together for 12 days. Oh my goodness. We had plenty of noise, plenty of food, plenty of toys, kids running around, and of course, plenty of hugs. But we had a ball. Gammy and Grandpa loved hosting the 7 grandchildren. Amy took all the girls to a tea room, and we dressed up fancy and cooked our little pinky while we drank our tea, and we had tiny sandwiches. It was so cute.
I love it.
Oh, my goodness. The little 2-year-old said, I like this. Oh, boy, did we have fun. I did need a couple of days to rest up and transfer into the work mode after they all left. And like you, I still have Christmas in my house. I'm trying to get it all down. But it was a great time. I'm so glad you had a great time, too. But, oh, my goodness, here we are on Stickin' to the Truth. Oh, do we have a lot to talk about today? You wouldn't think the lefty liars would you would think the lefty liars would calm down and just ride out their few weeks of time between now and when Trump comes in. But no, they are in overtime mode, Julene. At least Vice President Harris did her job and certified Trump as the presidential winner. I was glad to see that. How about you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we all kind of, sighed a breath of relief as we're currently snowed in Washington, D.C. Like we're going on the 3rd day of no school. So we all sat around. Dad made a fire, my husband, last night. And we were talking about it with the girls that, now we just got to get to the next hurdle of, the swearing in on January 20th. So we're all praying that the next week or so will be uneventful until then. So, I live in Washington, D.C., and a lot of people are talking, well, not a lot, but the people, some of my friends from out of the area are talking about coming to visit. My home is slowly turning into a hostel. I just got another little call last night wanting to know if they could sleep. But all the bedrooms are full up. Now my couches are going to start being filled up. But clearly Biden is trying to squeeze in every last minute left in his presidency as each day he's kind of trying a new shenanigan or putting forth a new something,
Yeah. Well, on January 4th, he handed out 18 Medals of Freedom awards. I was appalled at some of those awards and some of those winners. Biden couldn't have picked more evil and America-hating people if he advertised for them. Now, Cheney and Clinton have hurt Americans and called us names. We're that basket of deplorables. And but George Soros is different. George Soros needs to be put away, not honored. According to the Tribune, George Soros is a liberal activist billionaire whom Republicans have cast as the party's evil puppet master. Well, you know what? That's not a lie. He is. I've read a lot about him, and Soros does give billions to elect the left, and he has total radical ideas. And he does require specific actions for the money that he gives. His goal is to destroy America because that's what he does. He goes into successful countries and works within their government to take that country down. I don't know if he makes money when he takes them down. I haven't been able to find true evidence on why he does this, but there's a lot of evidence on the fact that he does. And all you have to do is look at the results, Julaine. Dive deep into a politician that promotes the most ludicrous policies for America, like not putting thieves or murderers in jail. And if you look deep into that, you'll probably find that they're supported by Soros. I wish we could ban the Soros family from doing anything in America. But instead of banning them, Biden gives him a medal, which, what does that do when you look at a person's actions and they're up at a podium saying, oh, I love America and America's the best, but then they do something to destroy America? You connect the two and you find out, that person behind the podium is lying to me. So most of the other medal recipients were left supporters, and I think he was probably doing that to say, well, you supported the Democratic Party, so I'm going to give you a medal. So as with everything else, Biden is simply paying off his supporters. Although I do think Denzel Washington is a good man, and I'm not sure that he's a supporter. So I appreciate that he got that. I think he's a good man. But I guess evil people have to get their money from somewhere. I just don't think it should be our government. What do you think about the medals, Julaine?
Yeah, I think you're spot on with Soros. I do not think he loves America. He's what I refer to as a master planner. He wants to dismantle and remake America, and not remake it to greatness, but to fundamentally change it from the inside out. And so he has kind of weaseled his way in to, he is one of the elites, and he, I believe, is calling the shots and pulling the strings in a lot of policy and laws and so forth. And so, I think that whole presidential medals of freedom are interesting. I think 19 people got those, and they get them for, exemplary contributions to the United States and blah, 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 a bunch of other things, and world peace. I saw that they threw in that. And so it was like Bono, the rock star, and Michael Jordan. No, not Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and the Fox guy, who is some actor, he's an actor, and then some designers, and even Messi, the famous soccer player, and the science guy, Bill Nye. When it comes to, I saw Denzel Washington too, and my husband and I, we took note of that, because I'm not going to lie, Debbie. Some people
Well, you better not lie.
That's like, because we're sticking to the truth. Some people have said my Al, my sweetheart of 31 years, kind of looks like Denzel Washington. And whenever someone says that, he puffs his chest up a little bit. But I've always liked Denzel because when I hear him speak, he espouses traditional biblical values of honesty and integrity and fidelity and strong families. And I know he's done great work with the Boys and Girls Club for the last 25 years. But, I do think that Biden reveals his values and his heart when he goes on to give a Soros or a Hillary Clinton, or even a gentleman who's a real advocate of advancing the LGBTQ community, Tim Gill. And so, it just gives it all away. It kind of spoils it for everyone else, even though, they might not all be lefty liars, as you say. Yeah. But, it definitely muddies the waters of that presidential Medal of Freedom, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. But I want to go back to something you said. You surprised me with it, and it brought up some memories. Ron and I took a class from you and Al on the Naked Communist, and what was the one after that?
Naked capitalist.
The Naked Capitalist. And in it, you talked about master planners who have tried for hundreds of years to take America down. And it's interesting that you would say that Soros was doing that. So I want to tell everybody that's listening, all our listeners, go to momsforamerica.us and go to the classes. You probably have to put your name in to get them, but you get them for free. And take those 2 classes because, Julene, you and Al do a fantastic job of explaining how this country has been attacked from within. But you also were so encouraging in that I was convinced 100% that God has helped us stop those people from doing what they were trying to do. And America has continued with its freedoms and with all of the basics that we enjoy here. And so, all of our listeners, go take those classes. Your mind will be blown away. So on the next thing, a lot of news stories have brought up the assumption that Biden is trying to make things difficult for incoming Trump. I agree. He's trying to burn the house down before he leaves. What do you think?
Well, I think I just saw on Monday, it's Wednesday today, that Biden put forth a ban on offshore drilling. And really, the ban isn't even going to impact where the large swath of drilling is going on in the Gulf of Mexico. But, and the interesting thing is, when Trump was in office, he too put forth protections about drilling, off the coast of Florida or California or Georgia. But when Trump was asked about this ban that just occurred 2 days ago, he said, I can correct it in one day. I'm going to unban it immediately on the first day. So, I think all this flurry of activity that Biden is trying to do is not going to stick,
Yeah. Well, I hope you are right. I hope that I read one story that said it was done under some law that's 50 years old and they would have to have Congress approval to unban it. I hope that's not true. I hope we can just flip it and keep moving forward, because I do believe what Trump says. If he drills, that the prices are going to start coming down, because I was a business person. I was out there doing business, and when you have to pay more for shipping, like right now on my books, when I have to pay more to ship a book to somebody, I have to up the price, or it cuts into the fact that I don't get any profit on the book. So it's very important that we have the transportation and shipping capabilities and that they are inexpensive across our country.
Yeah.
But don't you agree?
Yeah, well, look, Trump, we've been to Mar-a-Lago. He lives right on, the ocean there. I definitely don't think it would behoove him to be able to see the drills from his, his cabana. And so I think he knows, of course he's not going to try and drill right off the coast of Miami or something,
Yeah.
But in some of those deeper waters, deep into the Gulf of Mexico, why would we not? And really, this ban doesn't even impact that. So some of it is just for show to make probably Trump look like he doesn't care about the environment, And clearly, when he was president, he had protections on, drilling off the coast of Florida, California, and Georgia, like I mentioned. So I just think, they're trying to paint him, as a demon again,
Yeah.
like a man.
Well, it seems like they just want to make a show. It's smoke and mirrors. And I don't like that kind of thing, because that seems like a lie to me.
It's kind of disingenuous and misleading.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. But, and I have a problem with that, because my dad taught me at a young age. He said, Debbie, it is very important for you to understand what a lie is. And I said, well, it's not telling you the truth. He said, but it's also deception. if you deceive me. So if I ask you, did you break this glass? And you say, I wasn't in the room. That doesn't answer the question. That's deception. And that's the same as a lie. So I look at these smoke and mirrors and I go, oh my goodness, this is another one coming up here that is kind of that smoke and mirror type thing to make Biden look good and Trump look bad. So
Right. I agree.
I do want to ask you about one other thing, though. Biden, it makes me think he's trying to start some kind of war or terrorist action. Now, that is just my assumption. That is not something I know to be absolutely true. But he okayed for the U.S. military to send 11 Yemeni prisoners at Guantanamo Bay to Oman to restart their lives. Julian, think about that. Restart their lives. The victims of 9/11 can't restart their lives. They're gone. And their relatives on a daily basis have to deal with the fact that there's no restarting them. But these men killed them or they supported the killing of them. I think it's irresponsible to ignore the crime and just let them go. I don't care what they did or didn't do in the 9/11 terror plot. They supported the plot. I don't care if they were good prisoners or not. I simply don't think it's smart or wise to send them home to reorganize and come back at us. I like the old saying, a donkey kicks me once, it's his fault. He kicks me twice, it's my fault. And I don't want to dig deep into this can of worms, but most people are not rehabilitated in prison. There's a few that come out saying that they want to make their life better, but not many. And I doubt seriously that radicalized terrorists, as strong as their mind has been indoctrinated, would be sorry for their actions. Only the grace of God coming into their life could cause that. So what do you think about the terrorist attack in New Orleans or on New Year's Day, or how this letting these terrorists go plays into everything? I'll let you answer that.
Well, Deb, I was on travel during New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and I saw, a few days after, all these flags half-mast where we were, and I said, "What's going on?" And my husband was like, "Jolene, aren't you keeping up?" And I'm like, "No, I'm, if you're not watching the news every day, you miss something." And this was a tragedy,
Yeah,
my son lived just like minutes. He lived in the Garden District of New Orleans. We could walk to French Quarters, and we have been there during New Year's Eve, that beautiful Jackson Square, the cathedral, and that downtown area in the French Quarters. And so I was so sad to hear that, not only 15 were killed, but 35 were injured, including police officers. And so I thought, who, once again, the question is, who does something like this, and he's a U.S. citizen born in Texas, but radicalized in support of the Islamic State. And apparently, while he was in his truck driving from Texas to New Orleans to do this hideous thing, he was making videos early in the morning talking about his divorce and how he wanted to kill his family, and then posted it just shortly before he, I guess it was 3:15 a.m. when he rammed his truck, killing 15 people. And it's just shocking. And we don't even understand that kind of thinking, right? But, we can't assume that someone's radicalized like that. He died in this incident, was taken out. But, if he were to be jailed and then for us to think that he had reformed himself is I think faulty thinking on our part. And I think these men that were released have that mindset. And I don't think they should be let back out into the public again. And it's frightening. It's frightening, It
is very frightening. It is very frightening, especially when I don't get it and so many people don't either. It's hard to understand, why do hurting people want to kill and destroy on their way out? Logically, I guess they may be thinking it will bring attention to the problem, but most people don't care about their intentions. They just mourn the reality of the result of what they did and mourned the problem. The Guardian reported that, and I may not say this right, Leibelsberger, an Army Green Beret who deployed twice to Afghanistan and lived in Colorado Springs, Colorado, left notes saying his explosion was a stunt meant to be a wake-up call for the nation's troubles. Now, he parked a Tesla truck, and I think it was on New Year's Day, the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
He parked a Tesla truck in front of Donald Trump's hotel and blew it up. Thank goodness he picked Tesla, because it I think most reports said that the what happened when he blew it up, it went up mostly and not out, or it would have really seriously hurt some other people.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazingly, no one was killed, right? I think some people were injured.
I think 8 people were hurt, but no one was killed. He left cell phone notes saying he needed to cleanse his mind of the brothers he'd lost and relieve himself of the burden of the lives he took. The explosion caused minor injuries to 7 people, but virtually no damage to the Trump International Hotel. Authorities said that Leibelsberger acted alone, and his notes revealed he had nothing against Trump or Musk. Now, here's my problem. I feel bad for this man. He must have had terrible mental pain. War, I never use this word as a cuss word, but I'm going to say this so you get my meaning. War is hell. There is no other way you can explain some of the accounts I've read of men and women who've gone to war and what they've experienced. Even when we had a friend, his name was Tom, and he was in Vietnam. Nice, wonderful guy. He had dealt with all the voices and all the problems from Vietnam, but he was still mentally, he would have bad dreams. He would have times when he would leave for a few minutes and come back, and you could tell something had happened, and that PTSD, he was sweaty, he was having a hard time. But other than that, he was happy-go-lucky, sweet guy. War leaves its stain on anybody that goes through the process of, I have to kill people that I don't know their lives, but I have to kill them on the other side. War is hell. But as I've witnessed the horrific mental strain of war dealt with, I've also met people who do it properly, and Tom was one of them. But I've watched several men deal with it the right way. Now, I have a cousin that was a Green Beret in Afghanistan. He's a Christian, and he was a sniper. Can you imagine what he had to do and how he had to take care of his men? After fighting big battles, he would call his mom and thank her for praying for him. Ron and I had lunch with him in an outdoor cafe. He'd been home for several months, but he was still nervous. He sat with his back to the wall, and we watched as he constantly surveyed the crowd. So we're trying to talk to him. He's trying to talk to us, and he's like this the whole time. He never quite looked straight at our face. He was just looking around, and he would look up and he would look over. And I smiled and put my hand on his, and I asked him, I said, "Are you okay?" He said, "Yes, God is helping me. Over there, you have to be on guard all the time. Anyone can emerge determined to kill, and my trust level is still at 0. So I smiled, and I took his hand, and I said, "Thank you for your service. I'm sorry you're still hurting, but Ron and I will pray for you." And his eyes glistened over with tears. And he said, "That's a real solution." Now, today, he's married, he's happy, he's healed, and he's whole. I believe that there's a solution to every problem. We do not have to go to the point of killing other people. That's a lie. You don't have to go to the point of hurting others because you're so hurt inside. So on this issue, I am sad that both of these men couldn't find a solution. But I want to encourage anyone who is fighting depression or the demons from war or the personal failures that we all face, there is an answer. You don't have to live that way. Jesus Christ can help you. Friends can help you. Counselors can help you. You don't have to live that way, and you don't have to take other people's lives. Do you agree, Julene?
Oh, that's so beautiful. What a powerful testimony. I just want to second your powerful words. You know, I've seen a grandfather still suffer through the effects, not a grandfather, a father-in-law. He's 80 years old, the effects of Vietnam, a brother who served the warfighter in Iraq and Afghanistan for 8 years, a sister who's had debilitating, depression, and all of them came through it because they stayed the course, Deb, and they turned to the master healer. And they, at some point you just got to let go and let God take over and put the pain and the sickness and the anxiety and whatever in his hands. And that's where the healing begins. And it's not easy. It doesn't happen overnight. That's for sure.
No, it's not easy. You are exactly right. And, it's not just the big things that we face in life. It's also the little things. When you get your feelings hurt, or when somebody, I like the old saying about somebody missed my bat today. So, like you're standing with your bat ready to play ball, and they throw the ball and they miss your bat.
And some days are going to be like that, Deb.
Yeah. And some people get so mad about that.
Yeah.
But you don't have to. You can pray your way through it. You can read good material. You can listen to good friends, and you can get through those kind of issues. Yeah. So please do that. Don't let anger and depression and frustration get you down. There's a better way to live. So, Julene, let's get down to the sticking to the truth issue. It's a big one we need to tackle today. I feel a deep hope in this country and that things are about to get better. I believe it is. I am so grateful for the new common sense policies that are coming to America on January 20th. It makes me feel good, and I believe it has caused a lot of hope for most Americans. Even governments around the world are hopping on the America First train. Trump is already working hard to get investors to invest in America. I think he's up to $4 billion that have been promised, so prosperity is probably on the way. But at the same time, here we go again with the lies. You would think the left media would pay attention to what the election revealed, which is don't lie to the American people. We get it. We know when you're lying, but no, the lying continues. They said Trump was angry when he gave a 1-hour news interview yesterday. I watched the whole interview. He wasn't angry in any way. He was definite. He had purpose. He was confident. He just answered the questions. He stated what he was going to do and didn't apologize for it. So it's a lie, and I don't get why they keep promoting lies that are so easy to see. Do you know why, Julene?
I don't know why, but clearly America is seeing, and we know they saw because they reelected him and they spoke when they went into those ballots, and that was, just a few months ago. So they're not being duped the way we might fear they are. I do think, though, the mainstream media or social media or, radicalized Democrats, if we want to call them that, maybe need to be a little bit more self-reflective instead of trying to continue with their old tricks of fake news and defamation, because we're waking up and we're seeing it for what it is.
I totally agree. So, Julene, if evil will always be with us, and if the left media is at it again, what can we do? You and I talked yesterday about how every presidency is temporary. Now, some people go, what? One president gets something passed or does an executive order and life changes that way. Then another president comes in and changes it back. It's like every 4 to 8 years, America rocks on a teeter-totter, up, down, over here. No, go over there. Ugh.
Yeah.
We need something stronger than flip-flops. We need change that lasts.
Yeah.
I agree with all of the common sense stuff. How can we make a better society and then get it to stick?
Well, I believe change comes from the inside, right? A man that I admire who was in the Truman, was it Truman or Eisenhower administration? He said, God, who obviously he was a godly man, he said, God works from the inside out. The world works from the outside in. So, the world would want to take people out of the slums, so to speak, but it's Christ that takes the slums out of people. And then they
I
will
love
take
that. I love that.
themselves, all right, out of the slums. We don't need a government program to do this. And he said, look, the world wants to mold men by changing their environment, by passing more laws or more mandates and more regulation. But God changes men. Once God changes you, then you can change your own environment. All right. So politicians and world leaders or pundits want to shape human behavior, but Christ changes human behavior. So he's the answer to get change to stick, not this pendulum of flip-flopping and changing. But when you are converted to the core, your anchor is stabilized, right? You can discern truth from error, and you just don't go along with what the kind of popular philosophy or trend is in the world at the time. And God is the one that centers you.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. If we were in the same place, I'd say, let's do a high five, man. That's exactly right. There have been times when Ron and I watch the news and it's about something going on in a city, or there's a tragedy like when the hurricane came through down in, not this last one, the big one, Katrina came through. All those people gathered in that big dome place and waited for help. And I looked over at Ron. I said, would you be having us do that? He said, absolutely not. He said, I would be saying, put your waders on. Let's go. Let's walk as far as we can until we get to dry land, and we will save ourselves.
Yeah.
And I said, why do you think you feel that way? And he went back to the Bible too, which is what you just said. He said, because when you study the Christian life, it's about you and God. It's not about somebody else always doing things for you. You take responsibility for your own life. So, Julene, I love it. That's powerful. That's terrific. Thank you so much. What is your tip for today?
Well, Deb, I came back from my travel, and my little 17-year-old, she's a baby of the family, have 5 kids, was doing her vision board. I'm like, wow, I've arrived if my children are doing the vision boards before, mom's telling them it's time to do our vision boards. So she was printing out her little pictures. Every year we do a vision board, and we take a big white poster board and we divide it into four areas: spiritual, physical, educational, and social. And I always remind the kids, and the Bible, it says, without vision, my people perish, they dwindle, they kind of limp along, and we don't want to do that. We want to thrive, but we got to have vision. And so I really believe that, we're not going to succeed if we don't know where you're going. And the going is the goal. So let's get some goals up there on the vision board and get going.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And you are just so wonderful because you have a great family. I have a great family. And a lot of our tips kind of just gel together. We're doing the same thing, only in a different way, maybe. My tip is boring, but it is something kind of like what you said. It's boring. It's something that will change your life. If you haven't made a New Year's resolution yet, make this one. Promise yourself that you will be smarter this year. Wouldn't we all just love to know that every single year of our life we've gotten smarter and wiser, and that life is easier because we know what we're doing, and we kind of have moved farther and graduated every year into a better way of doing this life. So my tip is read a book. Listen to a class. Go to Moms for America and take some classes. And this year I will be posting some classes in other places as well. Learn to rule the internet and not let it rule you. And what I mean by that is don't believe everything you see on the internet. Most of them just want clickbait, or they want you to buy something from them. So question everyone. Ask yourself, how does that person know that that's going to work? How can they be sure that what they're telling me is the truth? Use common sense and look for the honest truth. Don't let lies make you weak. So in doing all of that, be smart and live a life of honesty. And I promise that will bring you the greatest peace you could ever imagine. And while you're at it, do one of those boards like Julene said. Thank you for being with us today. Subscribe to this podcast and join us again when we discuss fresh topics. You can ask a question or request that we dig into a specific topic by writing Debbie@DebbieJansen.com. And thanks again to our producer, Ken Jansen. This is Debbie Jansen, and I'm sticking to the truth.
And I'm Julene Jackson, and we hope you will keep sticking to the truth. Till next time. See you later.
Bye-bye.